Radical.
Welcome to Comment of the Week for March 28th through April 3rd, 2022. This is the best comment from that time period. But before the best comment, we have runners-up from Tosin Stardom and the Winged Avenger. Before I get into the reveal of the comment of this particular week, I want to put in a rule, all right? I want to put in a rule. I meant to do this before, but this is going to be the 25 or under rule. That means there can only be 25 lines of text or less to be considered for comment of the week. I'm doing this because, well, Hooded Farmer, it's a long comment. I think you're at about 24 lines. And honestly, I don't have the time to do the kind of editing to put in multiple pages here. So we're just going to keep this to a comment because I think anything past 25 lines has went beyond a comment. Okay? A comment, and you may feel differently here. You may feel, a comment technically could be 100 lines of text. You could be writing for days. But I just feel that a comment should be about 25 lines or under. At this point, start to consider making a follow-up comment. But here we go. This comment is from Hooded Farmer. I have to say, that is the most realist slap, and I also think that Chris Rock deserved it because I heard that Will Smith had told Chris Rock to stop making fun of his wife previously before the show. And honest opinion, it could have been worse. Will Smith could have went up and punched him on stage and actually gotten booted from the Oscars and never received his Oscar. I also have to say people are seeing this the wrong way, and I think Chris Rock should receive a small punishment, and Will Smith a medium punishment for going up and slapping him, but I don't think it should be a ban from the Oscars. I mean, how can you receive any rewards if you do get them? It'll look pretty out of place that it's his wife, if it's a wife or son or daughter went up and received any future awards. It'll look pretty out of place. What the fuck? See, here's the problem with all these multiple lines. I'm going to, you see this, on one problem is it's me, okay? I'm doing this on a smaller TV, and I'm having to, okay, now, I have to scroll to get through the lines here. You see what I'm saying? So it affects me and my reading of the comment of the week, but here we go. We'll take it back from, it'll look pretty out of place if his wife or son or daughter went up to receive any future awards. Because that, if it was my wife, I would walk up there and slap him for saying what he said and not having any knowledge of my wife's condition. Although I have to say, not everybody stays up to date on everybody in the world. But I know one thing. It could have been worse, and he could have punched him and received an assault charge, but with nowadays, you'll probably just receive assault charge anyways for slapping him. I also see your other point, that if it was fake only Chris Rock and the Oscars would benefit from this publicity stunt, and unfortunately not Will Smith. This event will never change my perspective of Will Smith because we'll have those moments where we shouldn't laugh or we shouldn't react to something. I will not be looking up Chris Rock's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air moment because like you, I don't want those memories to haunt me, although I feel like it might be funny. That is something I did not know about Chris Rock. Yeah, how many times the new show, and you can actually see that in her mind, she said with her eyes that you must do something about this. And then after he slaps him, you can see she still wasn't happy about it. And him slapping him, and she wanted like a speech or something when he received his Oscar about the incident. I guess to repeat myself, I honestly don't think that was a fake incident. And if it's really someone needs to speak out and say it was fake, because a lot of people are getting really outraged over what happened. Okay, so many things to go over here about that incident, which, believe it or not, happened over 3 years ago. Can you believe it's been that long? Time has been flying by like freaking crazy, or it could just be my personal life and how much I've tried to cram into my life the past 3 years. And I'm making steps personally to try to cut back and just take some time to enjoy my life, to be honest, everybody. Because if 3 years go by and it feels like 1 year, and you only have so many years left on the earth, I think it's probably time for not just me, but a lot of us to really reconsider what we're spending our time on, our very, very precious time here on earth. This is something I went over multiple times on the channel. That is the most valuable thing, way beyond money, way beyond anything you can acquire. Time is the most valuable thing on earth. Just want to squeeze that in there. But about Chris Rock, man, you said he deserved it. Now, most people think that he was within his fair boundaries for making fun of Jada. Many people actually feel that you can make fun of anyone to an extent for anything, but here's the point where it comes, where you bring up the condition that she has. And I looked up the condition that Jada Pinkett Smith has. She has alopecia areata. Where is it here? Yeah. It causes basically patches of hair loss. She has a shaved head. So what I'm curious about here is, a man should stand up for his woman if she's getting made fun of, right? Does a woman ever stand up for their man if they're making fun of? Should the burden always fall on the man? Some people feel that it should. But when we're talking about celebrities, generally celebrities, I feel, should have a thicker skin because, well, I'll just be honest here. They should be more open to criticism because they have tons of money. They have the easiest lives, man. Celebrities have the easiest lives there are. So I think a lot of people feel that it's okay to make fun of celebrities because they get praised and they get millions upon millions of dollars to be in movies, to be in TV shows. And I think it's a fair balance. I feel it's a fair balance to be able to openly criticize celebrities. Now, does that fall under criticism? Criticizing somebody is at a low blow? Criticizing her because she has a health condition that makes her a baldy? There's a lot of people that have that condition and they're not rich. There's a lot of people, a lot of men that lose their hair. But another element is, well, a man can lose his hair and that's perfectly fine. Like, people can make fun of that because a lot of men, past a certain point, because of their testosterone, they don't have hair. But hers is a medical condition. But of all the medical conditions, really, like alopecia, I mean, seriously? Come on now. It's just, she can get a wig. She can afford a really nice wig if she wants to. There's things she could probably do with her tons and tons of money to help that situation. Chris Rock, though, and Will Smith, if it was true before the show, if he went to Chris and said, hey, I don't want you making fun of my wife, and there was an agreement there where he said, oh, sure, okay, I won't make fun of her, and he did, I don't know. Like, if they have a man-to-man agreement, like, at that point, okay, then you're betraying your man-to-man agreement, like, somewhat of a handshake agreement. Now, if he says, anybody, I'll make fun of anybody. You can make fun of me. You can have Jaden make fun of me. I'll have the best Chris Rock. My apologies. But if he would have said basically, hey, Will, no promises, all right? Because I'm a comedian. And just want you to know it's not personal. And you guys can make fun of me for being skinny or having buck teeth or anything like that if you want to. That's fine. But in that moment when he stood up and made that walk, what was so shocking was people thought, okay, maybe it's going to be like a play, like he's going to kind of grab him and make like he's going to put him in a headlock or like, hey, don't you talk about my wife. But it was an open-handed big slap. And everybody was like, damn, what the hell? What the fuck got into Will? I think I talked before 3 years ago how it really wasn't all about, I think, Chris Rock. I think that was a combination of a lot of things building within Will Smith that was going in their life. Between Jada belittling him all the time, all the embarrassing stuff, him basically going to an interview where they talked about and aired their dirty laundry, Jada sleeping with his son's friend, for fuck's sake. This guy, man, I would be worried around Will Smith, that he's a damn loose cannon. I'll be worried around this guy. And one element also, I think you didn't touch upon, but somebody else brought up on it in their runner-up, just to give a shout out to one of the runners-up. They brought up At this point, Will Smith said, it's not the kind of person he'd like to become. And they said, at this point, if you're in your 50s, like, how much growth do you need to have? What, you're 75? Like, how can you be 50 years old, over 50, and not be the man that you want to be? Again, a lot of these celebrities that live in this fucking bubble, man, they don't have to grow like normal everyday people because they're coddled, dude. They are coddled their entire lives. They have a silver spoon up their ass, in some cases from when they're young. And they don't have to be adults. They don't have to do the adulting. So you can see clearly what is happening now with Will Smith when he's trying to be a kid again, basically. This older, chubbier Will Smith is trying to restart his career, talking about he likes girls. I mean, it's like a little disturbing too when you add that to the fact that he's talking about, well, I've not matured, I'm not who I want to be. I don't think some people are ever going to truly mature. I don't think it's ever going to happen. But yes, on this, people can feel differently whether Chris Rock deserved it or not. But when you are a comedian, when you are a critic, there's always that possibility. That's always a possibility, and people really don't look at the potential, I don't want to say bravery of certain comedians by touching upon certain topics, but there's far safer fields to get into. There is. And I'd be curious to see if there's a lot of other instances to where someone on stage made a joke, and maybe like at a club where it's just a regular club, and maybe they're just making fun of people in the audience, and a man just gets up and approaches, but there's not all the security of the Oscars. So I think it's an open debate on whether it was staged or not. People feel differently. Some people say it seemed like, Chris Rock kind of grimaced a bit because he knew it was coming. I would say if Will Smith walks up there, then it's in the back of your mind, shit, that he's actually going to slap him. Especially if they have that, if they talked before about, do not talk about my wife. And after that, who got the last laugh, I would say. I think Chris Rock got the last laugh, ultimately, because, hey, he started touring, man. It went back around, and I'd say right now he's far more successful versus Will Smith, career-wise. If you're going to book somebody for a show, you're going to book Chris Rock. And Will Smith, did he actually get banned from the Oscars? Oh, one funny thing before I leave, I want to bring up. Hey, Hooded Farmer, I don't think any of us is ever going to have to worry about the family of Will Smith receiving any Oscars, especially the son. I don't think we ever have to worry about that.